All righty, let's get things kicked off. Once again, my name is John LaMaster. I'm a life insurance sales director here at IAMS. I want to thank everybody for taking some time out of their day here this morning to join us. Once again, going to be joined by Travis Fratini at NIW. He is a head of VP sales there with NIW. We're going to be talking about premium financing, specifically with their Kai-Zen plan. But as always, going to jump into a few why IAMS things for those of you who might be new to us. So first off here, we have our new producer builders. So this is going to be your first 6 months getting newly contracted with us here at IAMS. You can see here on the screen various production levels. These are all FIA production levels. So we have the 100,000 all the way up to $1 million. Various different reimbursements, marketing programs that you can then qualify for there. Once again, this is for your first 6 months license with IAMS. So if you have any questions about these, obviously reach out to myself or any of the sales directors here at IAMS. Best way to get in contact with us is via phone, and our phone number is 800-255-5055. Next here, we have our business builders. So we have our referred producer program and our marketing reimbursement program. First off, the referred producer program. So way to say thank you for referring any agents over to us, maybe that wouldn't be technically part of an agency or a hierarchy, but you'll cut you a check for $50 right away once that referral gets contracted, and then quarterly we'll cut you a check on any override of business there that is paid for there. You'll see those various different levels from life insurance target, FIAs, MIGAs, SPL. Then we have our marketing reimbursement program. So it's a great program that will do some cost sharing with you on any marketing programs. If it's reimbursement on seminars, paying for leads, anything like that can also be applied towards any of our creative services here, which we'll touch base on here in a little bit. But we'll pay $100 in marketing reimbursement for $100,000 of FIA premium, and then there's various levels there on the SPL side of things and the life insurance target premium. Next, we have our back office support. So when Charles founded IAMS 35 plus years ago, our core foundation is our agent support and helping you guys as independent advisors. I know it sometimes feels like you're out on an island out there, and that's not a good feeling. So we're here to support you in bunch of different ways, from sales ideas, marketing strategies, and then obviously on the back office side of things. So if that's working through underwriting cases, transfer money on FIAs, anything like that. So a bunch of different things here, the old adage of work smarter, not harder. Another tool that you'll have access to when contracted with us here at IAMS is our agent producer portal. So great resource here. You can spend a whole day just inside of the sales resource library. There's going to be fact finders, agent guides, client presentations, tax guides, different life events and how to talk through those, specimen samples to use. So like I said, you can spend a whole day just specifically in the sales resource library. Also have a term and GUL quoter tool on the life insurance side of things, final expense quoter tool. On the annuity side of the business, you'll have access to an annuity rate watch and Luma, which is a great resources then for up-to-date FIA, MIGA rates, cap rates, all that kind of good stuff. So if you haven't gotten signed up for our website and you are registered with us, reach out to one of your sales directors at 800-255-5055. Next, we have our EAP solutions. We'll have 4 different EAP solutions that you can use. As we know, the industry is trending to pretty much all EAP, and I'm sure it'll be here sooner than majority of us would like it to be, but great way to process business, minimize not in good order on apps, get business submitted and paid for as quickly as we can. So Luma and Firelight are mostly going to be on the annuity side of things. We use then iPipeline or iGo on life insurance, and then Sunfire is a good resource then for EAPs on the senior health Medicare supplement side of things. So once again, have any questions on how to navigate these tools, somebody on the sales team or the new business team can help you through any of your EAP issues. Next, I touched briefly on our creative services. So Jacob and his team do an amazing job on all things from websites, creating a logo for you, business cards, brochures, email marketing, online newsletters. So they do an amazing job there. If you need any introduction on the creative services team, reach out to your marketer and they can create that introduction and get you the pricing and turnaround time on that. But Jacob and his team doing an amazing job on that. Next year, touch briefly on our IA that we created here about 5 or 6 years ago. So if you're not familiar with IAMS Wealth Management, Charles Jr. and heads up that side of the business with Duncan. So they do a great job of helping you, even if you're new to getting your Series 65 license, getting you an introduction to that side of the business. But it's a great way to increase your revenue, improve client relationships and retention. As we know, the more wallet share that you do have with your clients, the less likelihood of them going elsewhere or leaving you, because they're going to come to you as kind of the one-stop shop and source of knowledge. Next, here we have our Life and Annuity Academy. So we've hosted one of these here already this year, 2 weeks ago, and we'll have one coming up the first week of June. But a great way to spend 2 or 3 days inside of the business, helping sharpen sales and marketing skills with top producers from across the country. We'll also typically partner with 1 or 2 insurance carriers to kind of give an update where they stand in the marketplace, their outlook on things. But a great way to build your brand. There'll also be a presentation then from IAMS Wealth Management. We'll have 3 or 4 different marketing partners then that we'll bring in there. So a great way to, once again, spend some time inside of your business and help grow your business. And I am going to launch a quick poll here for any of those that would like some additional information on our next Life and Annuity Academy. Like I said, our next one will be at our home office here in Omaha, June 4th through the 6th, I believe those dates are. Give this a couple more seconds. Alrighty, so those of you that had shown interest, somebody on the sales team will be reaching out to you here when we wrap things up. Wrapping things up here, then we have our producers incentive trip. So we run these on an 18-month qualification period. About to wrap this one up. You'll see there the qualification was January 1st of 2024 through June 30th here of 2025. They will be heading up to Quebec City, Quebec there in August, and then our top 20 producers will then also be going on a kind of a side trip then also. So it takes 5 million points to qualify between FIA and life insurance premium, and there is factors that go into that. So if you want an update of where you stand on the top producer summits, have about a month or so, month and a half here to get qualified for that. So it should be a great trip up there. If you want to know where you stand on your points, reach out to your sales director. And with that, I will leave these links up here real quick. Make sure you like and follow us here on our Facebook, our LinkedIn, obviously our agent portal for up-to-date news of what's going on here at IAMS. And with that, I will hand things off to Travis. Once again, Travis is with NIW. We're going to be talking about premium financing, specifically with their Kai-Zen program. Doing some great things. I know Travis has been helping out with the team here internally on some updates that have been going on there, some marketing resources and their new ILIA platform to kind of walk through that whole thing. So thanks, Travis, for joining us, and I'll hand things off to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thanks, IAMS, for being such a great partner. We've known of each other for years. I think it's been the past 9 to 12 months that we've had a relationship, and things are going incredibly well. Honestly, it's the IAMS culture. A lot of things are in line with how we do things at NIW, and we really appreciate the partnership. So thank you so much. Before we get started, I kind of want to give you a little background about who NIW is. If you haven't heard of us before, we've been around since 1999, so not new to the premium finance industry. I would say that from the traditional premium finance perspective, we've been doing it as long as the rest. That is, we've got almost $7 billion in premiums financed over the past 23 to 24 years. But what really kind of, I think, put us on the map in the past 13 years is Kai-Zen. There's a lot of individuals out in the industry today that are doing what we, again, call traditional premium financing. We're very, very accustomed to it. We love it. Still about 50% of our business. But we definitely feel like that is for a very specific type of client. Your 10, your 20, your $30 million net worth client that has a true estate tax liability where the utilizing of leverage makes a lot of sense for that high net worth customer with that really big tax bill that's going to be coming down the pike to their beneficiaries. So that is a big part of who we are. But we also saw a really big need to help the high income earning client, the individual that doesn't have the net worth or really an estate tax liability, but primarily has a savings problem that just can't save enough capital, that can't put enough away to save for that secure or that secure future that they're looking for from a retirement perspective. So a lot of people know NIW for the Kai-Zen program, and that's what we're going to focus on today. A little bit about what the difference is between and why Kai-Zen is different than traditional, why we don't call Kai-Zen premium financing, but more importantly, probably hybrid financing. And you'll learn exactly why we are kind of designating that term for the Kai-Zen program. But a few other things about NIW that I think are unique that you should know, at least in the premium finance space, is that we've gone to great lengths to try to break the program. And what do I mean by that? Stress testing has become, I think, extremely important. A lot of our competitors in the industry only show you very slight, I would say, stress tests to these plans to show a client what would happen in a high interest rate environment or a low performing environment. That is something that a lot of our customers, as well as our agents, have appreciated from the NIW story. Because of that severe stress testing in the pre-sale and setting our clients up with the proper expectations of financing, we have an extremely high persistency rate, almost 96% persistency rate in a premium finance industry, where that's almost an unheard of percentage across the board. So we're very proud of these things. Again, a little bit about who we are, so that you know we are a really great finance company to be working with, whether it's traditional premium financing or hybrid, or this hybrid version of financing that we're going to talk about in regards to Kai-Zen. The other thing too is that we became a Simplicity Group partner, and I would say the only reason I want to bring that up is for years, and I've been with NIW guys for probably about 7 years now, have been marketing Kai-Zen as long as it's been out, as well as their traditional platforms. One of the biggest questions I would get from advisors, as well as the advisors' clients that would ask them is, what happens with my finance plan when Grace and Dane are no longer around? They're the president and CEO of NIW. What happens to my Kai-Zen program? Who's going to be there in 15 years when we need to exit that loan and this has to be administered? And you know, that was a really good question to be asking any finance vendor. By the way, if you're using a finance vendor outside of NIW, ask them those questions. Who's going to service this when the loan exit is in 20 years? Who's going to be around when my client needs to access these benefits? We needed to find a partner that was going to carry on the legacy. Dane and Grace own about 13 or 14 within their own family. You can understand that they have vested interest in Kai-Zen working as well, whether they're working for NIW or not in the next 10 years. There is a plan for a persistent use of Kai-Zen, as well as a servicing portion of the Kai-Zen program, as well as all of our in-force block of business that's been there for now close to 20 years. So we found a partner that's ready to take on the reins for the next 20 or 30. So that's kind of our history, who we are as a company. But when I think about Kai-Zen specifically, and you look at this graph, this financial planning consideration, this is what your clients are thinking. This is what you're doing, right, to help your clients get to that successful financial situation in the future that they're looking for, right? But there's a lot of things you're tackling: longevity, liquidity, inflation, market adjustments, risk, mortality, taxes. You guys all have a really hard job, and not every single product or one product per se is going to address all those things. But as we're going through this today, I want you to think about how Kai-Zen might address some or many of these things in some way over the next 30 minutes or so. So this is what I believe, and we at NIW believe Kai-Zen can address, or at least help address or mitigate the issues that your clients and you are facing in regards to the challenges of retirement planning. But what's interesting is we know our clients need one specific thing when it comes to their financial future. There is one thing we all must have, no matter what our financial journey is. And it may sound like a silly thing. However, money is what our clients need ultimately to have financial security in the future. Right now, it sounds like, well, no kidding, Travis. All of our clients need it. However, most of our clients that are buying Kai-Zen have it, but the question is are they going to have enough to maintain lifestyle in the future that they're currently enjoying today, right? And that's probably the biggest challenge that our high income earners are facing. What a client needs ultimately at 65 or 67 in retirement can be upwards of 10 to 12 times their annual income today. That means that our clients at 65 to 67 years old need to have saved $1.5 to $1.8 million set aside for retirement. Now, if you're in a big city or a metropolitan area or a state like California, where I was raised, that wouldn't last you a few years. So this is the challenge that most of our clients are facing. And when you look at statistically where most of them are at, 84% of retirees don't even have $1 million saved, whether in personal savings or assets. So we know that there's a massive undersaving issue going on with high income earners today, because they're being taxed with so many financial issues. And it takes more than just saving for retirement, right? You've got the trying to get the average rate of return for your client in it's the safest manner possible. You've got to deal with the disabilities, long-term care insurance, life insurance. No matter how you look at it, our clients are faced with a lot of challenges all the way up into retirement. So how are we addressing those things outside of nickeling and diming our clients for every type of insurance out there possible, just to help them get to the retirement that they're looking for? That's the challenge I think that ultimately every one of us are facing. But when it comes to our clients in regards to what they're saving, and again, I'm going to only focus one more slide on this. Every one of your clients that you're talking to makes a finite amount of money, right? And they're setting aside some in that qualified plan. They're paying taxes, they're buying the car and the house and the lessons and the golf and the travel, you name it, the debt that our clients are have accumulated. And before you know it, from an after-tax perspective, they're really left with not much. A lot of our clients are finding themselves not being able to save much more than what they're currently putting in their 401k. That alone will not help them achieve their financial security in the future. This is what their challenge is. And every time you show your clients a max funded IUL, or you're telling them to invest more, they're trying to figure out where they're going to get the extra capital to fulfill that need. So why do so many do nothing? There's just not enough money there. There's just not enough capital to achieve the goals that they are wishing for or want. And the long-term commitment of a lot of the savings programs out there are just not conducive to the clients the way that they think, right? I've been in the IUL space for, oh gosh, it seems like over 15 years, maybe longer now. And I remember thinking, gosh, if I was 30 years old or 25 years old, and I would run these max funded IUL plans with premium payments for 10, 20, 30 years. And then at 65, this amazing distribution comes out. However, I never really thought, can my client really pay all those premium payments? Will they stay on track? Will they continue paying for 20, 25 years? And the reality is, and what we found when we did a lot of research about what a client actually does with their life insurance policies or their max funded policies, is that somewhere between year 5 and 7, the client stops paying their premium payments. In many cases, lapses their policy as early as prior to year 10. So you think about this is just the psychology of max funded IULs and why they sometimes in the industry get such a bad rap, is because it's not that the product itself is flawed. a lot of times it's not funded properly, it's not funded long enough, and our clients just can't take the long-term premium journey to ultimately get to their goals. So that's really what's happening in the IUL space is that they just, and many times just cannot commit. So what can we do about that problem? Well, that's where Kai-Zen comes into the equation. What if we can offer you a solution that targets both of those issues, right? The lack of capital, and what if we can fund these plans in a time frame at which 96% of our clients are still in today. This is what Kai-Zen does. This is what Kai-Zen brings to the table. For every dollar that your client is putting into the plan, we have a lender that will match up to 3 times the premium, putting 3 times more premium into your IUL. More money into that plan the result of that additional premium going into the plan is about a 60 to 100% increase in benefits. So let me just emphasize this again. For every dollar that your client is putting in, we will match up to 3 times the additional premiums to max fund the life insurance policy, increasing those benefits 60 to 100% more than if you were to just self-fund your own IUL for 5 years. Do you think that can get your clients closer to their goals? Absolutely. Secondly, how long do I have to pay premiums? What's the commitment on the Kai-Zen side? Well, with Kai-Zen, the client is only requires 5 premium payments. 5 premium payments from the client, and then we add leverage to that plan to fully max fund that plan for a duration that makes this a very efficient contract. So yes, our clients can achieve their goals because you know why? 5 premium payments is exactly what our clients can do. We have very few customers that cannot make their 5 premium commitment, and that's why Kai-Zen works so well. So what is it? Kai-Zen combines leverage with a life insurance policy. And it's not just any ordinary life insurance policy. This isn't just a target funded life insurance contract. This is a max funded optimized IUL contract where yes, the client is putting in 5 premiums and a bank is matching those 5 premiums for the first 5 years. So this is a very, very simple design where if the client is putting in, let's use the example of $50,000. We have lenders that will match that premium every single year for the first 5 years. And then what happens in year 6 through 10? There's so much cash in the contract at that point that the lender will max fund and fully fund the plan for an additional 5 years. So it's 5 premiums from the client, a total of 10 premiums from the lender, and your client's putting about a 25% down payment on a 10-pay max funded IUL contract. Now, why is that important? Why is this 10 premiums so important? Well, from a cost of insurance perspective, it's extremely important. We all know on this call today, probably the biggest apparent flaw in life insurance is the upfront costs. The cost, the mortality costs, of course, again, the COIs, the tax, all of the different fees associated with life insurance. But when you design them properly, yes, there's still going to be some upfront costs and loads. But if you design it properly as a 10-pay, you can significantly reduce the overall costs inside of an IUL. By how much? The average Kai-Zen design, when we max fund these for 10 years, we do an option B, we minimize the death benefit, we add a little term insurance in there, and we are optimizing these plans. For an average 45-year-old male client, the average cost is less than 1% over time. So when you're talking about an efficient asset class, a max funded Kai-Zen plan generally is less expensive than a managed account, right? 75 bips to 1.25 is the average managed account that most people will pay for their money to be managed by an advisor. These life insurance policies designed properly over the span of a client's lifetime is less expensive generally than the average managed account. So when you do this properly, a bank is very highly motivated to add leverage to it because the cost is so low. Secondly, Why is a bank willing to do something like this with the terms that we're going to discuss in the next slide? The second thing to understand about a Kai-Zen plan is that the client is not on the loan. They're not taking out a loan. Why? Because every 6 to 8 times a year, we set up a master trust that is the borrower of the leverage. So instead of 50 or 100 policies or clients going out to a bank and borrowing money for this plan, we set up about 8 master trusts every single year in the state of Nevada. And that master trust is purely there as the borrower on the behalf of hundreds of clients, every single tranche. This is about every 6 to 8 weeks. Now, every time a client puts money into their policy, let's say the next tranche is, I think, 69 or maybe 70. If we have 100 clients putting in $50,000 a year, we have a $5 million group of clients that are putting money into their trusts. Then we take that master trust and we go out and borrow another $5 million from the bank, and we take all of those premiums and we send them to the insurance company. So again, instead of a bunch of micro loans, which are very costly, you would get terrible pricing if you were to borrow at that dollar amount. We do it in bulk. So we get extremely good terms and pricing because of how we're borrowing the money on the behalf of those clients. Now, what's so great about this arrangement is these clients have no relationship with the bank. The bank only has a relationship with that master trust. All that your client's doing is allowing their life insurance policy that's owned by their own personal trust be held in a first collateral assignment until the money's paid back to the bank. Once the money's paid back to the bank in approximately the 15th year, their trust is severed from the master trust, and now that client can take their policy and use it any way they want. Death benefit, living benefits, cash, tax-free loans. So this removes the borrowing experience that you as an advisor and a client would experience in a traditional premium finance arrangement. Why? Because in traditional premium financing, it's not just your policy that you're holding in a collateral position, but in many cases, personal guarantees. It could be a managed account or a collateral assignment against a managed account. In many cases, you're having to post collateral for most traditional premium financing strategies. With Kai-Zen, the only form of collateral is the client's life insurance policy. That is it. So this is what allows us to make this claim that no one else can truly make, where there is no credit checks, loan documents, personal guarantees, or out-of-pocket agreements. As a matter of fact, they have no party at all to the loan. They will never be party to the loan. As a matter of fact, the bank and the client, outside of some anti-money laundering issues or concerns and know your customer rules, have no relationship. This is what makes Kai-Zen still 13 years later one of the most exciting opportunities to help your client get access to capital that they would not normally or otherwise be able to get because their income would just not satisfy it. So this is what makes this extremely, extremely exciting, because for traditional premium financing, your client has to have typically a $10 million net worth or more. But with Kai-Zen, your client has to be between the ages of 18 and 65 and have a household income of $200,000. That is the only financial requirement to get access to the leverage of Kai-Zen. That makes, again, this is one of the most unique strategies when you bring leverage into the equation. But what's so different about this than everything else our clients are getting or doing in regards to leverage, right? I mean, what's interesting is our clients use leverage in almost every aspect of their life, but loans or leverage has really amplified how the economy has grown and what our clients have access to. If you think about it, back in 1908 to 1918, only 1 in 13 people owned a car. Why? Because they had to pay cash for it. It wasn't until 1919 to 1929 that 4 and 5 families owned a car. Why? Because there was credit offered to individuals to buy that car. That completely revolutionized an entire industry in regards to owning and having access to transportation? What about mortgages? Before 1934, you were required to put half down and the other half had to be paid in 5 years. Now think about that. Who could afford a house back then? Really only the rich. It was only till 1934 that the FHA created a 30-year loan, which completely revolutionized the mortgage industry and the homeowners industry. And now you have 140 million homes that have a loan on it now. That 63% of US households have a mortgage and have a home. So access to leverage is very common, but in reality, just because it's common doesn't always mean it's safe. When it comes to Kai-Zen, this loan is safer than a mortgage or the car that your client's driving in. Why? Because it's principally protected by an A+ rated insurance company, and it's designed to always have more cash in it than what it's lending to it. So from a carrier's perspective, from a bank's perspective, this is a very, very safe asset class for a lender to provide access to leverage to. That extra leverage, that 60 to 100% more, that extra premium generates 60 to 100% more death benefit, living benefits, and tax-free income than if you were to not use leverage at all. Again, helping you get closer to your goals. Now, did you want to add anything, Curtis, before I get into the market opportunity?
Yeah, I think going back or touching again then on the difference between Kai-Zen and traditional financing. Think of how many clients or people that you might know, right, that are, say, new doctors or business owners, right? A lot of if we don't have to post that collateral, right, a lot of those, say, a new physician might be making that 200,000 plus, but they don't have the collateral then to, post to get into a traditional financing. So, or a business owner, right? A lot of them might have own buildings or real estate, right? A lot of traditional financing, you can't post real estate as collateral. So I know we've run into those a handful of times a year of, hey, I got a business owner owns a real estate mogul that owns $5 million, $10 million in real estate. Can they use that as collateral? There's ways to get around it, but this makes it a much simpler process to go through. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The collateral part, if everyone can kind of get a grip. I had to watch one of these webinars, I don't know, 100 times prior to coming here, Curtis, like 7 years ago. And I don't think until I owned one did I realize that I was getting access to leverage, and I never took pen to paper on a single loan document, right? And when every year that I make my premium, to see the lender partner put in those additional dollars into my plan, and the only thing I have to ignore or do is prove, one, to the carrier that I can afford this on an annual basis, but I have to allow the bank to hold my policy in a first collateral assignment. I don't have to do anything other than that to get access to that additional capital. There's not a single loan out there in the industry that looks like that, right? So I agreed. The collateral part, where the policy is the sole collateral for access to capital, is pretty impressive, especially for the doctor, the business owner, the individuals that have a good income. However, they may not be sitting on a lot of liquid assets for the purposes of collateral. That's a really great point. And to the market opportunity, look, there's only about 1 million households in the United States that qualify for what we would consider traditional premium financing, that $7 to $10 million net worth client, right? There's as many people believe that there's a lot of millionaires out there, but there's not enough to necessarily, I would say, market to the traditional space. However, 12 million households in the United States earn $200,000 or more a year. That if we just captured a 1% market share on the households that qualify for Kai-Zen, that would represent about $2.1 billion in target premium per year, or $8.7 billion in premium per year on the average Kai-Zen size case. We're not even scratching the surface of the possibilities or the opportunity to get Kai-Zen into the hands of our customers. Last year, we ended with about $1.2 billion of loans facilitated in Kai-Zen after about 13 years. If we stop today and we didn't sell another Kai-Zen plan, there's close to $3 billion more to come in future premiums based on the commitments that we've made over the past decade. So this is a very, very, it's sustainable. The banks that we're working with love this. As a matter of fact, most of them are asking for more. And why? Because 96%, why do the carriers want more? 96% of this business stays on the books. It is good for the client. It's good for you, the advisor. Very little chargeback issues. Good for the reinsurers. Great for the banks. Everybody. This is a good program for all involved. Partly because, again, the persistency rate. But something that you don't see a lot. And Curtis, you can throw your ideas in the air. It's really hard to sell a second or third IUL to a family, especially when you put them in a 10 or 15 or 20 pay. You know, to go back and go, hey, do you want more when they're already committing to 20 years is pretty difficult. 20% of our existing book comes back and either buys a second one or one on their spouse and some on their adult children. So the repurchase rate, the ability to go back to a customer in year 4 or 5 and say, hey, you're done. Would you like to buy another one if you qualify? We have a really high repurchase rate.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Travis. I mean, yeah, you will see the repurchase rate, say parents, grandparents on kids' policies, but that's not like a traditionally truly overfunded policy, right? So if you can get that 20% there, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So who are you marketing? What's the target market for Kai-Zen? One, professionals, right? So Curtis talked about doctors. And at the end of the day, and 20% of our clients are physicians, doctors, dentists. But really at the end of the day, you're looking for clients between 35, 55, earning a household income of $200,000 or more a year, that are just not saving enough, right? They want to target these clients in regards to quality of life. You want to help them kind of get to their retirement goals. Kai-Zen's been a great alternative to someone that's already saving. They just need to save more, right? So don't think about just doctors or attorneys or CPAs. Yes, they make good money. It could be your neighbor that's an entrepreneur running his own business. There's a lot of people that you're around that have household incomes of $200,000 a year that need more than what they're currently saving. So that's a very rich market in regards to clients wanting to talk about things like tax-free retirement and those other types of non-taxed benefits. Business owners, guys, the business owner themselves need Kai-Zen a lot of the time. So definitely talk to these individuals, but more importantly, it's also used for 162 bonus arrangements, key man insurance. It can informally fund deferred comp obligations. Kai-Zen is a great asset class for businesses that need to recruit new talent or keep or retain new talent or top talent there at their firms. So for instance, NIW has about 11 of these on its top people in the organization. They use it for us as an executive benefits and or alternative to a 401k match. So there's a lot of opportunity within the individual professional markets as well as the business market that you can use Kai-Zen in that love it. So from a tax diversification perspective, filling that retirement income gap, what they're currently saving versus what they should be saving. Kai-Zen is a great conversation about filling that gap, recruit and retain key talent. And Curtis, if I challenge your team, we never really thought about it this way, but Kai-Zen is an incredible death benefit strategy for people that don't want to pay the 20, 30 years of GUL premium or premium to age 90. Maybe they have the premium to short fund it over 5 years. You add the leverage to that, and the net death benefit at maturity will sometimes double or triple the average GUL or interest-bearing UL for death benefit purposes. You can save your clients hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket in a 5-pay with Kai-Zen versus maybe a 20 or 30 pay to maturity. So Curtis, if you got clients under 60 or 55 and you're showing 20 or 25 pay ULs, definitely check out Kai-Zen on a 5-pay scenario if they have the premiums to pay it. All right, and then target markets, there's a third one, and this is not one not to ignore. We're going to get close to, we've got about a year and a half into this program. It's the gifting market. There's about $84 trillion about to be gifted over the next 20 years. If we, again, just tapped into a 1% of that market, we'd get about $8 billion of premium a year on the average size case. So what are we talking about regards to gifting? Well, remember, the client has to be between 18 and 65, earning $200,000 a year of household income. That's the qualification for the average Kai-Zen customer. But what about the client that is 55 or 60? They've already done their savings. They don't need Kai-Zen as an additional asset in their portfolio, but they have a 25-year-old or someone get a child coming out of college or just getting married or venturing into their new occupation. Most of these individuals would not qualify for Kai-Zen on their own. They're not making the household income that would justify it. With this gifting opportunity, now the parents and the grandparents can gift to their adult children or adult grandchildren, and the qualifications are going to be based off of the parent or grandparent, not the insured. So if you are working with older clients, you're investing or selling annuities to these individuals, and they are already in the gifting mode, and they have a household income of 200K, or they have a $3 million net worth, and they are looking for better ways to gift to their kids and grandchildren, I will promise you, this is the most fulfilling part of this program, is offering Kai-Zen to the parents and grandparents so that they can gift a Kai-Zen to their adult children. If you and I were only 18 years old again, or 25, and to see what $20,000 or $25,000 a year does to my future at 60 or 65 is incredible. So this is again, fairly new, about a year to a year and a half in. We're making a lot of modifications to the program, but we are seeing tremendous success with our clients that are 55 and older, that when they are shown what Kai-Zen looks like for their kids and grandkids, if they can afford it and they're in the gifting mentality, they will absolutely buy a Kai-Zen for their kids and adult grandchildren. So again, keep this in mind. There's a massive market for this, and we're super excited. We're one of the few, maybe the only one, offering a leverage strategy based off mom and dad's financials to gift to their adult children. Now, why do the parents love this? Because they want to provide some benefit other than just cash. They know that retirement and weddings and education and all the things that are going to face their kids and grandchildren are going to be tremendous. And instead of just giving them cash, they will be able to provide them with all the benefits, including the tax-free ones and retirement, when they buy a Kai-Zen on one of their children. So you got three really defined market opportunities: the professionals, the individuals, your next door neighbor that's making $200,000 or more a year. You've got your businesses that need help with recruiting top talent, retaining their key talent, and then the third one, which is gifting. Huge, massive market opportunity. If you're selling annuities or investing for your clients that are 55 and older, and you know what their income and net worth is, show them something on their kids, and it will absolutely blow their mind. Now that you have all this information now, this knowledge, this access to a program called Kai-Zen, what do you do now, right? Well, NIW went and created a program called ILIA, the Interactive Learning Information Assistant. This is an online tool or technical tool that allows you to educate not only yourself, because there's an entire section in ILIA that will allow you to continue your education with the Kai-Zen program, but it's also an educational center for your client. It provides marketing tools so that you can send out great marketing pieces to your clients. It's an illustrator. You can run illustrations right inside the site, that with direct feeds from the carrier, so you get live, up-to-date custom illustrations within the system within a minute. And then you also have an educational tool for your client. So you can have these one-on-one conversations that will help you kind of guide your client through the Kai-Zen program. And then 100% of the enrollment process is electronic. The enrollment, the trust documents, there's not a single wet signature. The payment method is all built into this program. So not only do you have this great program called Kai-Zen, and a huge market to go after, we're giving you a tool that will give you massive outreach to your customers and allow you to educate them and enroll them live and in real time. So where are we going with all of this? Well, we created really ILIA for this one-on-one conversation with your client. We know that there's a lack of compliant information. PowerPoints are getting a little outdated nowadays. So a lot of clients and agents will work with each other with an iPad or a laptop or a Zoom. That's what ILIA does. It provides you with this one-on-one sales process right within the system. But what happens when you want to recruit, or not recruit, but to talk to many? Maybe you have a list of clients that you want to send this information out, and you want a mass group of individuals to educate themselves on Kai-Zen and be able to get into the system. Well, we just launched what we call the agent link or landing page that will allow you to market to many. This is our solution. What you see here on the screen is the new landing page. Now, when you get access to ILIA, we will give you not only the system that we just talked about, but every one of your individual accounts will have this customized landing page with your logo, your picture, your email address, your phone number. And this link can be given to it can be used anywhere in your digital marketing platforms, websites, LinkedIn, anywhere in your social media, any ad campaigns that you're running. This is your customized link where the client can educate themselves on what Kai-Zen is. They can run their own benefits. They can, again, continue to inform themselves. Anywhere along the way, there's a learn more about Kai-Zen button. This is going to take your client now into this educational platform where they get to see how to educate or to navigate the site. Again, they'll get to go in there and estimate their benefits based off of their age and how much they want to contribute. They'll get to click on a video that shows them exactly how Kai-Zen works. You know, why do we use IUL? Why is there a trust involved? Benefits of leverage. There's a fourth one called validating results. This is going to give you a sneak peek into Grace's policy. She's been a Kai-Zen owner for the past 13 years. She was one of the original on the platform. So you get to see her talk about her results. Why should you be here? What does Kai-Zen offer from a solutions perspective? Why should you have some interest in this? A deep dive on FAQs. And then what if I want to do this? What's the next step? What's enrollment look like? How does NIW service this? How do we get access to my benefits? If they get to step 7 and they want to move forward, they can do a couple things. They can either call you or they can email you for an appointment. They can even from this point, go ahead and complete an enrollment. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to allow them to go ahead, log in, set up an ILIA account. When they do this, you will get notified via email and you will immediately be able to call the client and assist them through the application process. So why is this so important? Well, we found out that every time, not every time, but the maximum amount of time that we're seeing, or average amount of time when a client clicks on this link, they're staying for about 13 to 14 minutes. And a good handful are going in and either calling the agent or creating an account. So this process is all built in and provided to every single one of you as an IAMS advisor. So again, no form fill from a client perspective. They don't have to sign in. They get an instant estimator. The only time they're going to be asked for any personal information is if they're really interested in buying. So this is a really, really exciting kind of add to the ILIA software. Now, where we're heading is we got something coming out in about 3 or 4 more weeks where that landing page will be just the gifting page. So now you can give that link to your older parents, your grandparents, let them see what Kai-Zen will do for their children, their grandchildren. And if a parent is interested, they can sign in, they can upload their financials because it's going to be based on mom and dad's financials. And from the site, they can invite their kids directly to enroll. Now, of course, you're involved in the entire process. However, this now allows you as an agent to show a parent or grandparent. They then can invite their children and then they become your customers once they purchase. So this is a really great direction I think we're heading in regards to getting this into the hands of the next generation. But the parents and grandparents love this whole process. So we're very excited about it. We're testing it right now in a couple test markets, but the final launch will be in about 3 or 4 weeks. So where are we heading? What's the future of all this? We believe that there will be an opportunity for all different types of sales. We're going to create marketing and landing pages for everything from tax-free retirement to retain, recruit and retain, maybe the death benefit sale, deferred comp, key man. We will have links that will be focused on markets that you're in, and then you can educate them through these marketing links. So that's kind of where we're heading and where we want to be by the end of the year. Right now, you already have the kind of the tax-free retirement retirement gap Kai-Zen solution. We're going to have the great wealth transfer in about a month, and then we're working on all these other modules. So this is all this stuff is yours as an IAMS agent. We don't charge extra to get access to this program. This is just a part of being a part of the family. With IAMS and NIW, you get the sales and marketing tools, the electronic enrollment, the carrier feeds from an underwriting and illustration perspective. One thing in a close here, Curtis, is Allianz is one of our core carriers on the platform. We and Allianz are the only leverage strategy in the United States that has access to monthly and annual premiums for Kai-Zen. There's no other program in the industry that allows a monthly payment through ACH for a leverage strategy. So we're super excited about being leaders in some of these particular spaces. We see this used a lot in group benefits where the employer and the employee want to pay part of those premiums on a monthly basis. So it's been a huge addition to the advancement. And we're working on a couple more carriers, we hope by the end of the year. So stay tuned. We'll be launching that hopefully very soon. But Curtis, you might want to let them know how to get access to all this and what that call to action is today.
Yeah, so I'm going to launch a poll here again, just for those that would like some more information, how to get signed up and partner with Kai-Zen and ILIA there. That ILIA tool is absolutely amazing. I know that we kind of got access to it here, 6 or 7 months ago. Travis, I know, was kind of in the initial stages of creation, but it's a great tool, very interactive, which is, I know, kind of us in the insurance industry, carriers, software programs, a little behind the 8 ball a lot of the time, and this seems like it's, you see all the fintech companies out here, right, that are kind of game changers, and you guys are right up there with them there with good software, interactive, easy to navigate. I don't see why there's any reason a customer or consumer wouldn't be able to navigate the tools that are on there. So, and just to confirm that, those landing pages, right? They can put that, an agent can put that on their website, their social media pages, all that. Okay. That's great.
And those are, by the way, those are custom links. So with that, when that link is given to every one of the client inside of ILIA agents, and that link is specific to their ILIA account. So when a client lands on it, clicks on it, and starts enrolling, that notification goes directly to the agent that's using it. Awesome. So it's a great addition to your marketing package over there.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, so I guess kind of next steps here. Right, you have to sign an agreement with NIW, right? Then you get access to, and what, it's just a 4-page kind of document, just some disclosures, and sign that, get that sent in. What does that turnaround time usually look like once they get that into you guys?
Yeah, if you get the selling agreement back, by the way, the selling agreement just also indicates splits. Every group has, every finance company has a split. That's how we make money. We don't make money anywhere else other than being your service provider. So it explains that. And then once you get that back to us, within 24 hours. So as soon as IAMS gets that out to you back, they'll send it into our team here. We pretty much turn that on within 24 hours of receiving.
Okay, perfect. So quick turnaround time there, which is nice while things are still fresh and everybody's excited about it.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, that's all that I had, Travis. Was there anything more that you wanted to add?
No, other than if whoever is really interested in this, what I'd be open to, Curtis, is maybe even a group that wants to go over ILIA basics. How do I use the system? How do I invite a client? What's the client experience? What does enrollment look like? How long does it take? That could be a part 2 to this webinar, or if you want to just have your interested ones jump on a call with us, we can do that together, in a smaller group, however you want to do it. But
Okay.
I would say part 2 to this is, once you get access to the software, how do you use it? How do you engage with customers?
Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's something we can chat about here this week of next steps, how we want to
Okay, sounds
approach
good.
that. So yeah, I appreciate everybody's time. Once again, thank you, Travis. This is
Thank you.
obviously a great tool to offer to your clients, multiple different demos that you can target this for. So I'm guaranteed everybody has at least a handful of people that would be, that you have in mind here, hopefully. So
Yeah.
reach out to myself or any of the other sales directors here at IAMS, and we'll get you over the information to get going here with NIW and selling some Kai-Zen plans. So thanks everybody
Great.
for your time, and yeah, we'll move forward. And once again, appreciate everybody's time.
Thanks. Bye.